Joe, how are you?
What's going on? Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Traveling home?
Yeah, I had to pick up a baby, so
Oh, did you? Oh, fun.
yeah, yeah.
How's she doing?
She's been good. Just
Good.
this whole daylight savings thing messed up her sleep schedule, so she's been getting up at like 5 a.m., but it's not horrible.
Yeah, that's not bad, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's yeah, getting dark at like 4 o'clock's not cool.
Oh, I know it's rough.
Yeah, it's really rough.
Where'd you go, Jojo?
Hey, Turb.
What'd you say?
Kathy,
Where'd you
Kathy,
go?
hello.
Hello.
I'm just picking up the kid.
Oh, okay. I thought you went somewhere. I
Oh,
got Bristol ready for Saturday, so
Okay, yeah, I was gonna put it in tonight in the MLS. So
okay, cool. Thanks. I appreciate that.
I like that angle, Turb. Look at you getting a good shot of your chin there.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
dang.
Sorry. I'll get a little bit farther away. I apologize. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're
Sorry.
good. Yeah. All right, let's give it a few minutes, see who else jumps on. Kathy, welcome. Thanks for jumping on. Uh, yeah, we'll see what happens. How's everything been going? Turb, everything good?
Yeah,
Oh,
everything's really good. Doing really good. Doing really
good.
good. Just CMA chemical market analysis advice that you gave me is working really, really well. I've got a couple of listing leads on them from next year. So, and then I have another one that is thinking about doing something. So, it worked out really, really well. So, thanks for that advice. I really appreciate it.
Sweet. Okay. Let's that's good to hear. Let's t talk more about that once a few more people get on. I want to hear
Okay,
what you
that's cool.
did, and then what kind of
Okay,
response you're getting from that. Yeah, that's
okay,
cool.
cool.
Good to
Okay,
hear.
cool.
We'll give it just another minute or two and let some more people jump on. Shantae, good evening. Welcome.
Everyone's muted, Michael.
Yeah, I know. Everyone needs to unmute. Let's just talk here.
Exactly.
Good evening. I'm sorry. How's everyone?
Hey, good. How are
Good.
you? How's it
Good.
going?
All is well.
Good. Thanks for being on tonight.
No problem.
Yeah, well, good. Well, yeah, we'll just give it another minute or two and let's see who else jumps on and then we'll dive in and get going.
Sounds good.
Yeah, cool. All right. There comes Vince. Here we go. Quiet tonight.
I know. Come on, people. Let's get talking.
Vince, welcome. Thanks for jumping on. All right, let's go. It's 6 o'clock. I'm sure a few more people will jump on as we get going here. Vince, how are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Feels like morning. I feel like I've been in this chair all day, so I don't know.
That's what
I
I was
couldn't
gonna
tell you
say.
what time it is today. Yeah, but, need to get out and go get some air. So at some point. So yeah, thanks for jumping on. But let's I guess it's a 6:01. Let's get going. So uh Bob, if you had mentioned real quick just a minute ago, you were doing the unsolicited CMA stuff. Give me it's working. Well, give us a little background. What'd you do? What kind of results did you get? Kayla, good evening. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
How you
Good. How are
doing?
you?
And Jojo, everyone greet
Oh,
Jojo.
oh, hi, Jojo.
Uh, no, what I did was I took Mike's advice and I did comparable market analysis for a lot of my past clients, family and friends. Initially, I did like 20 of them, and now I've done about 30, 35 of them. And what I did was I went around and handed out gift bags to my A+ clients. And what I did was just did the CMA, I did the RPR, and then I did the tax records, and I did the price per square foot from Maris, and I just stapled it together, put a letter on top of it, and then I dropped off the gift bags with the information inside of it. And I also mailed some out too to my A people, my class of A people. Where so I got a text, and I have talked to him since the text about a house in Kirkwood that I CMA'd out as $1.041 million, and they're going to list next summer, and so they want me to take care of that. And then also too, I talked with a lady I hadn't talked to in a little while, and she's getting divorced, and so she's going to need to sell her house. So so that one's hit pretty good. And then also too, my friend Mike, he he didn't realize his house was worth so much. So he owns a 3,400 square foot house, and his kids are going to college. His last kid's getting to college next year. So he's wanting to downsize and get a villa, and he wants to sell his $600,000 home. So that's what's
Nice.
so that's what's
So how
happened.
many, so you said you hand delivered a certain amount and then you mailed a certain amount?
Yeah, I hand delivered about probably 15, 17 of them, and then I mailed out the rest of them. And so like I finished mailing out the rest of them this past week. So I'm following up on calls with them this week. And the ones that I hand delivered, I followed up with calls, probably about half of them I was able to get a hold of and talk with them and stuff like that. And they're really interested to see how much their home was worth. They didn't realize it was worth so much. Also, too, I talked to about probably 6 people in person and talked about the CMA with them, and they didn't realize how much their home was worth either. And they're like, "Wow," you know. And we talked about how with interest rates were dropping and so forth and stuff like that, that it might be a good time to cash in and move on. So they worked really really well. So I thank you for your advice. It really opened up a lot of opportunity for me. So
So you said, yeah, no, absolutely. But you said about 35 between a mixture of hand delivering and mailing, about 35, and you got 3
I
pretty
got three.
strong
I got
opportunities.
3 really strong opportunities, and then I have other people that are like, we didn't realize they're worth so much, so we'll think about it type deal, you know. So
Yeah,
a lot of people, they had their eyes open to like, oh my God, my house is worth this much. We bought it 20 years ago, and we didn't realize it's worth so much, and we owe so little on it. So maybe we need to cash in type deal, you know.
yeah, very cool. That's awesome.
So,
Good.
yeah,
So about 10%, could turn in, or more, but like right out of the gate, 10%, it sounds like strong opportunity. So yeah, pretty good. Cool.
right.
Good.
Do you
Happy to hear
mind
that.
asking what did you use for your gift bags?
What I did was I just bought a little bought a little bag, and then I had some Halloween bags that I bought at the dollar store, plastic
Mhm.
bags. They had some stuff on it, Halloween stuff on it, and I just put some candy and stuff in there, and then I wrapped it up and put a bow on it,
Oh, okay.
and then I had also I bought some beakers at Michael's. They were like $1 something a piece on sale, and I just put candy in the beaker and put a bow on that and put that in the bag too. So the
A
candy
beaker,
beaker,
like in science class, like chemistry.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
like a little beaker, yeah, like a little beaker. It was in the Halloween section, so I just bought it. So I put candy in that. I wrapped that up. I put a big bow on that, and I put both of those in the bag. And the one bag was for the kids, and the other bag, the baker, was for the adults. So, you know.
Okay.
Got it.
Nice. Okay, thanks.
hmm And then I put the CMA in there with a letter that what explaining what I'd done, explained everything, we did the price per square foot, what the RPR was, and what the tax records say, and about how I circled the number of the tax records, and and I just had in a letter, about, realizing your home's value, and if you wanted to talk, just give me a call type deal, so.
Cool. That's good. So yeah, so he did the unsolicited CMA we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where he was just giving people the value of their home. And what he found was 3 out of about 30, 35 have expressed interest in wanting to sell already. So pretty cool and good price points. You said over 1,600,000, and what was the other one?
Sorry, it's about the other one's like 300,000. That's the one that's getting divorced, so
So
that one's
almost,
probably coming soon.
yeah. So about $2 million in potential business from that activity. So that's pretty cool. That's good.
Yeah,
That's really good. Yeah. And more may come of it too, as you keep connecting with more people that you drop that off to. So
right, exactly.
nice.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Well worth the effort. Good job. Good
yeah.
job. Way to take action on that. That's cool.
Thank you.
Um, good deal. Has anybody else done that yet? Or thinking about doing it? Thinking, yeah.
Thinking
blinking
about
back.
it. They're good ideas.
Yeah, yeah. Just doing it, right? Finding the time to do it.
And I was thinking, just like, you don't need a reason to do this, but you made me think, Bob, of like, well, that was kind of a Halloweeny gift, and so maybe Thanksgiving, a thankful
Yeah, definitely.
bag
Yeah.
might be good for your A++ clients. So
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, a lot of good opportunities over the next 2 months for like holiday type pop buys for sure. So this is a good time of year to do that.
Yeah, Bob
Yeah.
has given me a lot of good advice about that stuff. And so like I have these like bags with just to introduce myself to my neighborhood because I live across the street from my kid's school. And so like it's a normal time to really introduce myself to a lot of people because she's in kindergarten. But so yeah, I have done that, but I waited till after the election because I feel like people would think that I'm doing the, trying to get them to vote a certain way. So I'm going to do it
Sure.
this weekend. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah, we'll be curious next week, see how it turns out. So
millions of dollars in sales. Okay.
there you go. That's the goal. That's the goal.
just
That's
letting you know
awesome.
now.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my kid with me too, so they can't not answer the door.
That's a
Exactly.
good idea.
Yeah.
Can I borrow your kid for, no, never mind.
Yeah, you can actually. Anytime you want, you can babysit.
You need to, Kaylee, you need to do it on the weekend where your husband can have the kids on the sidewalk and you go up there and say, that I'm Kayla and this is my family, and they wave at the door and all sort of stuff,
Yeah.
Do it like
I
that.
hear Joe has a 6-month-old too. I'm sure he's willing for free babysitting as well.
Yes.
Yeah, anytime, absolutely.
Well, cool. No, that's good. I'm excited to hear that we're getting some stuff going from it. And so I actually wanted to run through a couple of things too tonight. I had some questions that were asked to me over the last week or so, and I thought, these might be good to talk about. And so I just wanted to run through a couple. These are from agents of different, like what I'll say, like newer age. Some were newer, some were brand new, some have been in the market a while. And so I just wanted to run through. One was, how can I stand out in a market where I feel like there are so many realtors? So who's ever felt like that? There's 12 to 14,000 realtors in the area, 1.5 million or so in the country. How do we stand out from the competition? Because we know like pretty much everybody we know probably knows another realtor as well. Will we agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. Like anybody in our database probably has, if you have people in your database, they're probably in 3 other realtors databases as well. And so how do we stand out there? And so I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about, one, I feel like how do we build a brand around ourselves to where we can stand out? So I'm just thinking through ideas and I'm like, all right, well, for one, what do I specialize in? Do I specialize in anything? Is my niche first-time home buyers? Is my niche investors? Is my niche new construction? Is my niche luxury? Is my niche just kind of an all-encompassing where I'm a really well-rounded agent? But whatever that niche is, and I'm not saying you have to have a particular niche, because I think you can be a well-rounded agent that helps everybody. You help first-time home buyers, you move into some luxury, you can do investments, you can do all of it. But how do we deliver that message to the public? And when the public thinks of us, like what do they think of? Because I know too, I've heard agents in the past that say, they promote so much luxury stuff that people would, they would talk to me like, oh yeah, we just bought a house. We didn't call you because we didn't think you worked in our price point. We thought you only did luxury. Right. And it's like that luxury agent probably may have not sold anything this year. And they're like, oh my God, I would have loved a $200,000 listing or $100,000 listing or $50,000 listing, whatever the case is. Right. And so like, what is our niche though? Do we have one? And then do our clients and does the public know about that? And if so, are we getting the message out about that? And how are we getting the message out about that? Are we being kind of the secret agent that we're just hoping people know? Like, hey, we don't want to talk about it. I used to be this way. When I first got into real estate, I was 23 years old. And what I would say like back then was real estate wasn't cool like it is today. Like now there's all these shows about it and there's like $1 million listing and stuff like that where it's cool now, right? Back then it wasn't cool. and I was almost like I was a secret agent. Like I was kind of like I didn't want to tell people I'm in real estate. I didn't want to talk about myself. I didn't want to, but that also impacted and hurt my business in a lot of ways. Now I don't think we need to be like the agent that's like vomiting real estate anytime we go out to a party. You know, all we're talking about is real estate and listings and buyers and sales and all that. But I do think we need to be getting the word out about ourselves and letting people know what we do. And so I find part of that, like especially this time of year with holiday parties, a lot of people, if they know you're in real estate, they're going to ask, how's the market? Who gets those questions? Like Thanksgiving's coming up, you're going to go to family stuff, and they're going to say, oh, like Kayla, you're new. They're going to be like, oh my God, you're in real estate. I heard the market's really tough right now, right? Or they're going to hear, I heard rates are super high. Like real estate will come up because people are interested in either wanting to buy a home, they own a home and they're curious of their value, or they want to invest in real estate. So people just love real estate. So how we handle those conversations, I feel, is very important as well. But also, you know, like if that conversation doesn't come up because they don't know you're in real estate, how can you bring it up without saying, hey, I'm in real estate? And you know, and what I find works really well is I always go back to the Ford script, which is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, right? In that conversation, I start talking to people. If it's people I don't know or whatever, I might ask them, how's work going? How's your job going? How are things at work going? Right.
Yeah.
And then they're going to talk a little bit and then they're going to reciprocate and normally say, what do you do for a living? Or what are you doing now? Oh, funny you should ask. I'm actually in real estate. I just got my license, or I'm still in real estate. Or they might say, are you still in real estate? Because they never see you post anything on social media or they don't know, right? And so that conversation, it's a simple conversation of just asking people questions. What do you do for a living? How's work going? And then normally they tend to reciprocate, and real estate tends to come up in every conversation. Like my family parties at Thanksgiving and Christmas, like that's all people, first thing they ask me, how's the market? How's the market? How's business? How's the team? How's the company? How's this? How's that? Like it just naturally comes up. So I think moving into the holiday market right now, we have a fantastic opportunity to take advantage of getting in front of people and just asking people questions, right? Like good questions, like, you know, actually the market's really strong right now. We're still in a really strong seller's market, but it's still a good opportunity for buyers as well. Rates have come down a little bit and they're starting to creep back up, but we'll see what happens now that the election's over. Maybe the rates continue to drop, but it's still a really good market. But having that conversation and not being an agent that just says, oh, market's terrible. You know, because that happens a lot too. Agents just say, oh, it's terrible. Is it terrible or is it just terrible for you? Right? Because you haven't been doing any activity. And so be thinking about that. But that's kind of one way I think standing out in a saturated market, because it is kind of a saturated market, but I always think too, there's always opportunity for it. But trying to figure out like what do you feel like, you know, and I look at it too, like from a niche perspective, like what separates you from all of the competition? Why would somebody use you over another agent? And kind of use that to your advantage. And I would start to build kind of a brand around that. Like for me back in the day, I used it as I was basically like, this is what I told myself, right? I constantly told myself, no one will care about the client more than I will. That's just what I told myself. That's why somebody should work with me. It's not because I have the most experience. This is when I was newer, not because I had a lot of experience. It's because I care more about the client and I'm going to put their needs in front of mine and in front of any commission check. And I'm going to do what's right for the client. And I know I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they have the best transaction possible. All right. And then that was kind of like my mantra, my personal mantra. And then I just started to live by that. And it was one of those things where I would do things for clients. Like, I still sell a couple homes, you know, a year. And I had a house in St. Albans that just went under contract, but they had a bug infestation issue, like stink bugs, right? And then they had the house sprayed. And like I went out there before showing, and it's not real close, right? You know, from Chesterfield, St. Albans, 30 minutes or whatever. But I went out there and I cleaned up stink bugs out of their house because they're out of town. They live out of state now. You know, I went in and I was cleaning bugs out of these people's house before showing. Like I just do stuff like that because I think it's the right thing to do. I like to go above and beyond, but that's also kind of ingrained to me since over the years. It's kind of like I just go above and beyond. I care more, I do more. And that's oftentimes how I felt like I won more business, was because I showed that kind of in my value. So I just be thinking about that. Like what do you do that's going to separate you or make you stand out from the competition? And that's how I feel like you can stand out in a saturated market, by going above and beyond. Anybody else thoughts around that?
Yeah, I was going to say I completely agree with that, because I think your values and your reputation. And when you go above and beyond, people are automatically going to spread the word about what you did. Like your example where you went above and beyond, and most agents probably would have said, "Oh, I can't help you with that. I'm going to, give you a recommendation," but you actually just went and did it, took care of it. And then they're much more likely to give you a review or, tell someone like, "Hey, Michael's a great agent. He went above and beyond and did this." And then you're likely to get more reviews and build your reputation better that way.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's a differentiator than the experience they might get from most people. But I think you're absolutely right. Like most of our business comes from repeat and referral. Right. And think about that from a customer service level as well. If you've never read the book Raving Fans, definitely recommend it. It's a super simple read, super kind of a cool read too. It's a story. But it talks about basically like plus wanting the experience. So from a customer service perspective, what I'm doing, how do I always take it to the next level? If I'm doing X from a customer service, what can I do to make it just another level better? Right. And honestly, that was an Enterprise. I had a friend of mine that worked at Enterprise for a long time, and that was their thing. If they ever had a problem and the client was upset, let's say the client, I don't know, they called and complained about the car, they would say, well, what would you like? I'm more than happy to take care of this. And I'd like to, what do you feel would be fair for me to make sure we can rectify the situation? They'd say, well, I want a free rental, a free day of rental or whatever. And they'd say, absolutely, I'll give you a free rental. And I'll tell you what, I'll actually give you a second day for free as well. And so it was always like plus wanting the experience where then the person was like, oh, well, that was cool. Now you take a negative scenario and now you resolved it by giving them what they want. And then you add another level. Now, I'm not saying we give people what they want all the time, right? Because you ask a client, they might be like, well, I want you to cut your commission to 0. But my point is, in a lot of scenarios, we can make that experience just a little bit better. And that helps stand out. That gets us reviews online. People look at reviews online. And it's going to get us more repeat and referral clients as well. So had another one too. It was, how can I create a consistent schedule for prospecting? Who prospects every day consistently? Yeah, I don't either. So I can't, I used to, I haven't. No, I don't either anymore. Yeah, I did it for a long time. I don't now. I've fallen off. I should, right? So it's the whole Tony Robbins things, like we should all over ourselves. Like I should lead generate, I should make more calls, I should do this, I should eat salads, so it's yeah, we should all over ourselves in a lot of ways. But how do we create a consistent schedule for prospecting? I did this for a long time, very consistent, not 100% consistent, but pretty consistent, for the most part. I would say I was about 90% consistent with my schedule. And what helped me with that, one, it has to be in your calendar. So one, you've got to put that time in your calendar. Two, having some form of what I would call peer accountability definitely helps. Like early on, I had I had like script practice partners, and we would hold each other accountable to make our calls. We would report our numbers. So having people too that you can report numbers to definitely helps. Having somebody to make calls with, I think definitely helps. I think the biggest thing though is having a strong enough reason for why you're making the calls. Because without that, it's super easy to just kind of say, well, tomorrow's another day. Monday. Monday I'll pick it up. It's Wednesday, but I'll ramp it back up on Monday. Let's throw it up this week. So I feel like having a strong enough why oftentimes will help propel us to go make those things happen, especially on the days when we don't want to do it. Now I know Joe too, you've lead gen at a high level. What keeps you going on it? And why have you fallen off, Joe?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is just the consistency. Like you said, like I almost try to treat it like going to the gym. Like I try to go to the gym almost every day. And with that, I try to have a structure where like, hey, I'm going to be in the gym by X time and go for at least X amount of minutes. And I think you have to treat it the same way, like lead generation, like you're going to the gym. You never want to do it, but then after you do it, you feel good. Same thing with lead generation, where nobody ever wants to pick up the phone, call strangers or even people but once you do it, even if you don't get any appointments from it or any success, you at least feel good because you're trying to push the needle forward. So I think to your point, it's just having a set time. And for me, I'm not perfect by any means. I'd say maybe like 75%. My goal is to be lead generating by 9 o'clock for at least 45 minutes to an hour every day. And, like you said, I'm not perfect by any means. I try to do it at least 3 to 4 times a week. And it's
Mhm.
very difficult because it's the last thing we want to do, but it's the most important thing we have to do.
Definitely. It is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is the last thing everybody wants to do. Even the people that are like, I love lead gen and all that, they really don't. They love the result they're getting, right? They love that they get business from it, but they don't absolutely like just thrive on picking up the phone and making cold calls and getting hung up on and stuff like that. But you're absolutely right, Jill. Like here's the cool thing. If you do it really well for at 75% of the time, you can make a really good living. So I think that's the important thing to hear too. It's not like it has to be hours and hours and hours of just constant lead generation. What I found too is if I did an hour of outbound lead gen, meaning I'm following up on, calling people that came through my open house. I'm calling internet leads. I'm calling for sale by owners, expires. I'm calling my database, like doing outbound lead gen. If I did an hour of that a day and an hour of follow-up calls, following up on people I had conversations with or appointments I went on, people I met with, that tends to work really well. If I do that for about 4 days a week, so 8 hours of lead gen working in my business, you can have a pretty nice business if you do it consistently. You don't need 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you can do that and you can, but typically an hour of outbound, an hour of follow-up, 3 to 4 times a week, you can build a really good business. But it has to be consistent, right? Like it can't be like, well, I had a great week this week and I take 3 weeks off from it. And then I ramp up again and have another good week and I take a month off and now it's Christmas, but let's just toss this week aside because then we got New Year's and then it's January 1st. But you know what? Yeah, I'm not quite ready to go. And then it's the 10th of January. And then it's like, well, here's Mardi Gras. I'm going to go to that weekend. So we'll pick it up in March. And then it's spring break. And then before I know it, it's Easter. And then it's summer. And you know what I mean? So it's like, it gets away from us there, right? It's amazing how fast time flies. But I do feel if you, for one, put it in your calendar, and then 2, really try to hold yourself accountable to sticking to it consistently. And when you build that habit around it, you'll start to really see a very consistent business where you just have deals constantly closing. And that's, I would imagine everybody on this call, that's what we want, right? We want to have every month, we know we have commissions coming in or compensations now. I can't say commissions, right? But every month we know we have deals closing and we're getting paid. And it's not really good month and then 3 or 4 really bad months and then a really good month and then 3 or 4 bad months. It's every month I just know I'm going to close houses. And so the way we get to that though is really having that consistency around it. So I think that that's something that really can handle. But that goes into another question I had was, how do you handle rejection and continue to stay motivated? That's a good question because we've all been rejected. I think the big thing is learning that in sales, because we are in sales, and I always say this, we sell houses, right? We all know that. But do we really sell houses or do we facilitate a home transaction, right? We are more of an advisor role. We're never going to sell somebody on the idea of buying a home that's not the right fit for them. So we're not going to be like, this house, they don't like this house, and we're going to sit there and push and try to sell them on a house they don't like. So really, our job is selling. We're selling, but we're selling ourselves to the client so they can make a decision whether they want to work with us or not. And so it is sales, right? In a lot of regards. But I think what we have to realize too is that in the sales process, rejection is a natural part of it. There is no salesperson that ever has 100% batting average or sales average, if you will. And it goes into the baseball analogy. If a baseball player hits 300, their average batting average is 300. They're considered a really good hitter, I think, right? I've only been to 1 baseball game in the last 2 years. So I think it's, but yeah, like 300 batting average, over 300, right? They're considered really, really good. Is that good? Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody's like 500. So
no, yeah, you don't see that at all, right? Yeah. Like even McGuire, I remember when McGuire was hitting all those home runs. I think his average was in the 3s, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I'll have to Google that. Turbo, Google that, will you? I need Turbo. I need you on the stats, Turbo. No, I'm joking. You don't have to Google. But I think that was yeah, but think about that. That's 3 out of 10. Every 10 times he went up to bat, he struck out 7. The same is true with like Babe Ruth, all those people, right? Their batting average somewhere. Every time they went up to bat, they hit 3 and they struck out 7. For a lot of people, they would consider that a failure. A 30% on a test is a failure. But like in our business, if we talk to 10 and we get 1 and we have a 10% conversion, it's fantastic. So we might get rejected by 9, but if one says yes, then we just go out and make a sale and make money. So I think part of it too is just realizing that you will get rejection in this business. It's going to happen. It's never going to stop. No matter how good or how big your business gets, you're still going to experience rejection. And it's just a part of it. And so just knowing that, and I think once you kind of wrap your head around knowing that you get rejected and it's just part of it, then it doesn't become so painful anymore. Because I'm a person too, like from a personality perspective, if you know the disc, I'm a DS. My S is pretty high though, and S is like the caring, the you know, that kind of side of it. And so like when I get rejected, it can affect me. So my high D driver thing has to like bury the S, or I'm like, dude, don't care, just keep going, don't let it bother you. Because there are things that happen, I'll think about it for days and weeks and years, you know, and it's like that shouldn't affect me. I still think of phone calls I've had years ago that's still, you know, and that's not cool, right? And so like just know that though, it's just part of it, and it's gonna happen. We've all experienced rejection on this call. Agreed?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
If
Anybody else?
you call like, hey, how you doing? Click. Rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've dealt with that too. So
That's actually a good rejection where you don't even get them to say anything, because it's not
yeah.
it's worse when they just like cuss you out. And,
Right.
Can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, the way I look at it is like you're calling somebody and everything like that. But the thing is, though, is that that person that, you know, you're never going to know that person, like you'll pass that person on the street and they don't know that you called them. You don't know that you called them. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you just take the rejection like a grain of salt, because that person's never going to see your face unless you get the appointment, and then that's good. But if they reject you, then it's no big deal because
Right.
they don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So you can't take it personal. And then also on the selling part of it, I don't know if anyone wants to use it, but I always say that I'm selling the dream. I'm not selling a home, I'm selling the dream. So if anyone wants to use that, that's something that I say.
Have you trademarked that? You're not gonna
No,
get us.
I haven't trademarked it yet, but lawsuits will be coming.
But it is, Joe. You've experienced a lot of rejection in your life, in your sales life, I should say. Not in your... My bad. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
was gonna say too, if you use the rejection too as motivation, because say like you go on a listing appointment, you don't get that listing. A lot of people like get down on themselves and say, "Oh, I suck. I'm a bad agent. I, you know, just can't get a deal." Instead of saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna show those people that they made the wrong decision. I'm gonna go get 3 more listings." So I think it's super important to use that as fuel for yourself to say, "Hey, I'm gonna prove them wrong, and I'm gonna go close 2 deals instead of this one."
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing too. You're absolutely right. Don't let it get you down, because it's going to happen. No matter how good you are, you will lose listings, you will lose buyers, people will work with somebody else. It's going to happen. So don't let it get you down. Don't let it affect you. Just use it as a learning process. And I use my example. I talk about my own experience a lot because I don't know what else to talk about. But I used to go on a lot of listings and I wouldn't get them. You know, I think you've all heard this story before. I would go on listings and I would build rapport, and I didn't really know how to show any value. And then they would hire somebody else. And instead of being like just down in the dumps, like, oh, I got beat out again, I would just call them and ask, hey, out of curiosity, why'd you hire so and so? You know, and they would tell me. And then I would just add that into my presentation. And then over time, my presentation got, through so much failure, my listing skills and listing presentation actually got really good. And then it started to turn into where I was getting like 8 or 9 out of 10 that I would go on. And all of a sudden I was turning into a good agent. But it would have been really easy to just say, oh, not for me. Oh, I can't compete with Gelman. He was one I used to go up against a lot back in the day. He's probably what, the largest in the MLS now, I think, his team. You know, those guys crank houses out. But he and I would compete on tons of expireds back in the day. And we'd get into it a little bit too. It was interesting. But anyway, we went up against a lot of listings of it, but then it started where he was beating me on all of them. Then I started beating him on some, and then I started beating him on more. And then it got to like 50-50. And then it was just, it was one of those things where I would just constantly, the more appointments I went on, the more I lost, I would learn from them and use them as a way to get better rather than using it as a way to, like, an excuse to quit doing the activity. You know, because I think that's 2 ways to look at it. It's like we can look at rejection as a way of saying, well, you know, doesn't work, not for me, it's too tough, too much competition, or use it as a way, how do I get better? How do I learn from this? How do I improve? How do I keep going out and making things happen? And over time, we can become a very, very good agent that has a really consistent business.
Yeah.
You know, I had another one too. What are the best ways to reconnect with past clients? So I think now, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up. What a fantastic time to call and just tell people you're thankful. Hey, thank you so much for allowing me to represent you. Just wanted to, you know, check-in calls. I find that phone calls are the most underutilized thing ever. I really think so. Like we're always looking for creative ways for why to call somebody, or like why to, like Bob, like do a pop by or this or that, which those things are fantastic. We're looking for reasons when really, what if we just called them and said hello? You know, just thinking about you. I just wanted to say hi, wanted to check in. How are things going? Thanksgiving's coming up. Have any plans? What's going on with the family? Stuff like that. I guarantee you your clients will be very, very receptive to receiving those phone calls. And a
Yeah.
lot of times too, it might be weird because maybe we haven't talked to them in a while. Maybe it's been a year or 2 years or 7 years since we sold them a house, and we're like, we just feel awkward not calling them. But what if we just call them and fall on the sword immediately? Hey, I know I haven't talked to you in a long time. I really apologize for not keeping in touch. And I was thinking about you and I just wanted to check in and see how everything's going. Do you think they're going to be like, oh yeah, you haven't called me in 7 years? Or do you think they probably won't even remember that you didn't call them? That's probably the bigger thing. They're probably not even like people get busy with their lives too. Most of them aren't thinking like my realtor hasn't called me. So we get we get in our own heads about it. But what a good time to just pick up the phone and call and reconnect with everybody we've sold a house to, or everybody that's referred us a client over the years, or everyone that we've listed a house with, or maybe even people we didn't sell houses for. I had a person one time that I didn't get a listing. I went on the appointment. They went with his aunt, but then he still referred me somebody else. He was like, I really want to use you, but it's my aunt. I got to stick with her. But we wanted to get second opinions. But then he referred me somebody like a month later. So even people that you didn't work with, call them, right? You never know where those relationships can go and what that can turn into. So I think from a past client perspective, pick up the phone and call. You know, don't be afraid. Pick up the phone and call. Call 5 people tomorrow. Just call 5 past clients tomorrow. Right? See how the conversations go. See what they're like. If it goes well, call 5 the next day. Call 5 the following day. You know, and keep doing that until you can build a really big business just from reconnecting with people. And I guarantee you'll probably be surprised at some of the people that say, "Hey, that's funny you called, Vince. Funny you called. We're just talking about maybe wanting to sell our house."
It happens. Yeah.
It does happen. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Happens a lot more than we think, especially if we're doing the activity. Like if we're doing the activity and checking in with people, we get the luckier we get. Right. And that's often how it goes. The people that do the activity consistently, they get luckier and luckier. So any thoughts around that for anything for reconnecting with past clients?
Yeah, I'd also say that like Facebook and Instagram are great ways to do that too, where it's more subtle. Because people like to post about wins in their life, so it's an easy way to like comment on a post, DM them, and just start kind of reconnecting with them. So it's a really super simple way where you can get them to notice you and then also reconnect with them.
Definitely. Absolutely. Social media is, yeah, still pretty underutilized in our business. Sending somebody a message, you can see that they opened it, right? Commenting. That's what my mom has a pretty good real estate business. She's been in the business a long time. She does nothing from a lead generation perspective. And I mean nothing. Doesn't call her past clients, doesn't even have a database. All she does is she comments on people's Facebook posts, on her clients and family and stuff like that. When they post something, she comments. And that's it. That's her strategy. And she sells, I don't know, 15 houses a year and they're good price points. You know, she'll sell, you know, 5, 6, 7 million a year. And that's all she does. Like she does nothing else. Doesn't pick up the phone, doesn't call her past clients, you know, literally doesn't have like her bold trail has nobody in it. All she does is just comments on people's Facebook posts.
Can I give
And
something real quick?
she gets a good business from it. So keep that in mind too, right? I'm not suggesting only do that, but it's a strategy, right? And it can work. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
No, what I wanted to say, and I don't want this to come across as like stalking and stuff, but what I did
Oh
was
boy,
I
here we
looked,
go.
yeah, here we go.
There
So
we go.
I looked at my Facebook, I looked at my Facebook friends, you know what I'm saying? I went through all of them. And and then what I did was I hadn't contacted and touched base with a lot of them except through Facebook. So what I did was I got their name, I looked them up in the tax records, And then I took that address and I went to that website that Joe talks about that gives you, you put in the address and you get the phone number. And I'm reconnecting with a lot of my old friends and stuff like that, which is great. And we have great conversations and stuff like that. And then, you know, you reconnect like that and you make those calls. And it's like, wow, you know, I'm talking to Patty again, and it's great. I hadn't talked to her in years, you know. So, I mean, stuff like that. Just go through your Facebook and just get the names down of the people that you know in your Facebook that are Facebook friends of yours. And if you have a relationship with them, why not look them up, you know, and then just make those calls, and it'll bring you more and more business. And also too, you reconnect with an old friend, which is great, you know. So
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. We're actually going to do, I think on Friday, we're going to do a quick little training on how to pull free data, like how to get people's phone numbers and stuff like that. I think that's going to be Friday morning. So we're going to throw that in there. A lot of the services you have to pay for, but we've got Brendan found some free resources. So we're going to talk through that later this week. So that'll be cool. So yeah, no, good point. Good point. And then I got one more thing here. How do I manage, well, question we had, how do I manage my time between generating leads and serving current clients? So that's a tough one. All right. That's a tough one, especially when we get busy. Like you have 2 or 3 buyers, you got some listings going. And then what tends to happen once we get busy? The lead generation stops. So what I would say is that if you want to have a business that continues to grow and continues to grow month after month, you have to put priority on your lead generation, and you have to almost treat your lead generation more important than your current clients. And so that's a tough one. I know it's a tough one to wrap our heads around, right? Because it's like, well, I've got this current deal going right now, and I've got, you know, if I've got a current client, I've got about a 70% probability I'm going to get paid, right? But now I need to put my focus, my attention first on the people that, you know, maybe have a 5% probability of getting paid or 0, right? Yeah. And so it's a tough pill to swallow. I get it. But really, a lot of it, I think, goes back to the time blocking. And this is what I often say too. If we time block, and let's just say we blocked out an hour of lead generation a day, and a client calls us in the middle of it. We're 30 minutes in, we're getting some momentum, a client calls, and we stop our lead gen and we answer that client call. And they say, oh, I just wanted to let you know, whatever it is. We have a 5-minute conversation, 10-minute conversation. Chances of us getting back on that lead gen are probably pretty slim because now our time block's almost over. So could that client wait, you know, 30 minutes into the call? Could they wait 30 minutes? Yeah, I think so. Could they wait an hour? Yes, they could. So be thinking about that too. I could send a client a quick text, say, hey, I'm in an appointment. I'll call you as soon as I get out in 30 minutes. And I can keep going on with my lead gen. All right. So I think that's the importance we have to put around it too, is treating our lead generation like it is so important, because it is, that we're not just constantly getting away from it. Because once we stop, we're in the middle of it and we stop, we're probably not going to get back to it. And now what was supposed to be our time block of an hour was maybe 20 minutes. And then we stack enough days like that on top of each other, and it turns into like doing virtually no lead generation. So I think a big part of it is managing between the current leads. A lot of it is just following a schedule. Now, we have the blessing in this business to not have to have a schedule. You know, every one of our days doesn't look the same. You know, we're meeting with different clients, you know, everything's like that. But what I can tell you is the more consistent you get with having a schedule every single day, the better your business will become. If I know tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I need to be on the phones making lead generation calls, and I just know that's there, then if a client calls and says, hey, I want to see a house tomorrow at 8, well, I know I'm supposed to be lead generating. I can say, hey, I've got an appointment at 8. Would 9:30 work? Would 10 work? Would 11 work? All right. So what I would say from that is getting really, really diligent with your schedule, and knowing looking at your schedule and just time blocking those things that are important will really make a difference in your business. Like, who right now has their schedule really time blocked?
Also for me, and I would probably do better if I followed it.
Yeah, right. That's the hard thing to do too. No, I get it. Absolutely. It is. But it's having, I think the first step is putting your calendar down, like putting it in there. You know, now we've got it on our computers, we've got it on our phones, all of that. So I would say if you do one exercise tonight, it would be, or this week, time block your calendar. What does your perfect calendar look like? right? How much time are you working on your business? Because there are certain things too, like you're working on your business and you're working in your business, right? Working on your business would be kind of like creative time to focus on how you can grow and different strategies, things like that. Working in your business would be more like working with clients, lead generation, appointments, things of that nature. So I would challenge you all for this week, line out your perfect calendar. What does your perfect week look like? How much time do you have blocked in there for lead generation? How much time do you have blocked in there for appointments? How much time do you have blocked in there for family time and things that are important as well? Because also when you get really good at following a schedule, you stop double booking yourselves and you really take more control of your life too. Because it's not like you're just popping around doing whatever. Client calls, hey, I want to see a house right now. You're jumping to it. We're sacrificing family things or things that are important to us. We can look at our calendar, put the personal stuff in there too. Like especially this time of year, lots of holiday parties and lots of things like that. You don't want to start scheduling yourselves on top of those types of appointments as well. There's another baby on the call. So all kinds
I feel
of
like
babies.
I'm missing something.
Yeah. But I would challenge you all, let's look at that from a calendar perspective and really start looking at identifying what does your calendar look like? What does your perfect calendar look like? And I find that will help managing between the time of servicing existing clients and generating business on new clients. So any other thoughts around that?
Good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Need to do it.
Yeah, just got to do it. That's a big part of it, right? Just have to do it. I find that most of us, we know what to do. It's a matter of doing it and then doing it consistently.
Yeah.
Right. And and the biggest thing though is finding the motivation for why.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like if you think getting hung up on by clients is bad, try getting hung up on by realtors. It's even worse. I have to I cold call realtors every day. Get hung up on a bunch of realtors every day. It's even worse. It's
Wait, what do you ask them?
well, I call realtors because like now my goal, like my focus now is to grow the brokerage, right? So I'll just call through rosters and just, hey, are you interested in learning more about NettWork Global? Nope, hang up, click. So I get rejected at least 10 times a day from realtors. It's way worse than getting rejected from strangers because some of these people I actually know and they still hang up on me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so brutal. But hey, it works, right? We do it, we keep doing it, we stick with it, it does work. That's how we got Vince here. I just kept calling him. Kept calling him, kept calling him.
Actually, I think I focused on the emails more than anything because they were like you're only paying this much, and
you're like, wait a minute, how much am I paying right now? Yeah.
And then like when you kept posting, you would post everybody coming on, and I was like, man, what the heck's going on over there, right? So
FOMO. Yes.
yeah, you're missing out. So
I got a text the other day like, hey, Kayla, just wondering how it's going with NettWork Global. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm like, I don't know you and I'm not going to gossip with you, but you should join NettWork Global too.
That's awesome.
But when you first get your license, they like blast your information to everybody.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure. Yeah, you get bombarded with text, emails, and phone calls. That's for sure. Yeah.
Michael, those calls is what brought me into the office. I said, okay, stalker, I'm coming, Michael. No, but I love it. I love being here.
Well, we love having you here. That's for sure. But I think that like that in itself right there is proof that it all works, right? It's just sticking with it. It's doing it and doing it consistently. And if you do enough of it, you're going to get business and good things are going to come from it. It's just a matter of continuing to do it, even on the days when you get lots of rejection, because we've all had those days. We've had days where it feels like nothing goes right. And we know that tomorrow's another day. We get back on, we do it again, and chances are we're going to have a better day. And so a lot of it's just sticking with it. And especially like this time of year too, I feel like it's easy to get, like the weather. What is it, Vince? What's that?
Lazy.
Yeah, it is. Right? It gets dark at 4 o'clock. It's like, God, I just want to go sit on the
Totally
couch.
agree. Like seasonal depression could be on an all-time high at this moment. You're like, bedtime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're ready for bed at 6 p.m. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's why it's important too to really kind of keep a set schedule right now. Keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep compounding on it. And we stick with it. We're going to keep making things happen and finish out the year strong. So we're November 6th right now, less than 2 months. The year's over. Goes faster every year, that's for sure. And but yeah, let's just stick with it. So I definitely appreciate everybody being on tonight. Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
I got a question for
Yeah,
agents.
please.
What are you guys seeing out there as far as the amount of people coming to see your listings? Is it really leveled off, or is it location based? What are you guys seeing? Or even if you have a buyer, are you seeing anything out there? It just seems like to me that it's slowed quite a bit. Not making excuses.
Mhm.
But pretty slow right now. What do you
Is
guys?
it?
Okay, I have literally, I'm brand new, but I did an open house for my parents at a $270,000 listing of my parents are very experienced in Afton. And I'm telling you, there was not a second that I was not overlapping with people at the open house. It was
Wow.
crazy busy. And then it ended up going 17,000 over list that night, multiple offers. I know.
And this
And
was recent?
this was Sunday. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the first open house I've ever done by myself. So by no means did I have any voodoo that I could put on any of that. But so that's my only input.
Okay, no, that's
So,
good
Taylor,
because I've got a
I'm-
listing out that way, and
Mhm.
had someone do an open house for me that one group came through. So that could tell you that I've got a price issue.
Yeah.
Possibly instead of a people issue, right? Or an interest issue. I don't know. I've been advertising a lot on it, and I haven't seemed to been getting too much response from my advertising, which is unusual as well. So I don't know.
Vince, I've been doing a lot of,
I just wanted to ask also, while she's talking about the open houses, I've been trying to work those a little more, and actually did my first, took my suggestion from Michael, do the 10, 10, and 10, and I knocked 30 homes and what have you, and the turnout was very low, and I've had homes where I didn't do anything, and like Kayla said, the overlap was wild, back to back to back, but the last couple that I've been doing, the turnout has been very low. Home's nice and everything, but the turnout has been low. So I don't know. Is it just sometimes the turnout may be better than other times?
What location? What area are you in?
I just did one in Winsfield, and I did one in St. Charles.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you look at from a statistical perspective, like I just pulled up stats, right now, the average showings in October per listing was 4.4. In March, it was 7.2. So if you look at it, there is a seasonality decline. It looks like
Oh, yeah.
every year where showings definitely go down this time of year. So it's not uncommon that we're going to get less showings right now. But I think an important thing to tell our sellers too is that if we stay on the market, a lot of people, like right after Halloween, especially a week ago, started pulling their homes off the market. We'll see more homes come off the market this month, but we're going to start getting a surge of reload people moving into the area as well. So if your home is a candidate for a reload, keep that in mind as well. And keep in mind, reload is all different price levels. It's not just high end. It's every price level. People are moving in and out for work. So we do see a surge in reload, but I think part of it, yeah, Shantae, Vince, part of it might be price. All right. So like, how has the activity been on your showings? Just in general, from a showing perspective, very low.
Probably around what you just said.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Four-ish. So
Yeah. Yeah.
can I just put something in there real quick?
yes, please.
Yeah.
I've been doing open houses a lot lately and stuff like that. And I do comparables to see how the price is and everything, just so I know. And the prices that I do that tend to be overpriced, I do get lower turnout than the ones that are priced right. So it could be a
Sure.
pricing issue. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, for sure.
No problem.
Yeah.
Can I ask one more question? When you do
Please.
the door knocking prior to the open house, so I had my flyers. So those that opened the door, talked to me and supposed to invited them out, and then those that didn't, I kind of left the flyer. What am I supposed to say to the people? Besides obviously inviting them to the open house, is there anything because I know you're trying to get business that way as well. Is there something in particular you guys say or?
Yeah, what I say is I just knock on the door and then they answer and I say, hey, how you doing? My name's Bob Regornick. I'm not trying to solicit or anything, but I just want to let you know that I'm having an open house party down the street on Sunday from 1 to 3. I'm going to have desserts. There's going to be a lot of information about the house. And I'd love to just get your feedback on what you think of the price and what you think of the home. And that's all I say.
Okay, yeah, very good. I kept it like in that term, but no party. But yes, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, no food, but come on by.
Well, I think too, like Shantae, something too is like how the conversation unfolds is important too. You're going to get people that are going to be more talkative, asking more questions, and that might be an opportunity to throw out the market report. You know, like depending on how the conversation goes, like some people might just be like, oh yeah, okay, thanks. And then that's it. Right. So you're not going to be like, hey, what about this market report? But if the conversation's going, they're like, oh yeah, I saw that one. How long's it been on the market? They start asking questions. You might be able to turn that into, you know, one of the things I actually offer is I send out a monthly market update to everybody in the area to keep you up to date with all the pricing in the area. Would you be offended if I email it to you on a monthly basis? And now you can capture their info, right? Maybe you can get their name, phone number, email, figure out a time frame for when they're thinking about moving. So I think a lot of it just depends on how the conversation goes. And because again, you're going to get some people that are more like, yeah, get out of here. You know, we've all had that where they're just like not interested. Yeah, no, yeah, thanks. Okay, they'll take your info. But then you're going to get other people that are interested that might be able to turn into some prospects basically. But again, yeah, with door knocking, it's just a numbers game as well. All right. It's like we just have to, it's the repetition of doing it time after time after time after time. And over time, it will turn into big results.
Cool.
Yeah. So cool. That's all I've got. Anybody else, anything else to add in before we wrap for the evening? All right. Well, I appreciate everybody being on. Thank you so much for getting on tonight, and have a great evening, and we'll see everybody soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.